Hey guys, and welcome to Doing Things Dan's Way. So today, FedEx dropped off a new toy. After waiting a couple of weeks, this guy came off of sold out status and I was able to get my hands on one. So my goal for this series is to go through a whole series of videos that's going to talk about the unboxing and first power up. That will be this video. The next video is going to talk about a bunch of noise measurements to determine at different loads what is the amount of noise that this thing puts off at, let's say, 20 feet away. I'm going to do it in a proper environment, so not inside a garage, not surrounded by cars, not using my iPhone to do the measurements. I'll use a proper instrument, but a simple one that you can get your hands on cheap, less than 20 bucks. And I'm going to do it out in the open to where I don't have a bunch of reflections, which amplify and reinforce sound. I'm going to borrow my buddy's Honda, and we're going to compare it to the Honda because that just seems to be everybody's gold standard. Let's see how this guy does compared to the Honda, and if I can find any other generators around here that I can work with, I'll get some measurements on those. But they're going to be at constant load, so that will be the second video. I will do another video that's going to compare this unit to this guy down here. This is the 3800 watt version, and this is the 2350 watt. So we will compare these two apples to apples. So at 500 watts, what's my noise rating? What's my fuel efficiency? When we run these just at a couple hundred watts, because all we're doing is really charging a cell phone, running a few lights, a refrigerator that's only 200 watts, that sort of thing. How long and how efficient can these run? And what's the volume level like? Is this guy actually quieter? This guy's rated at 52 dB. This one's rated at 57 dB. But in all reality, when we run it at 200 watts, which one's quieter? What's the better deal? Okay, so that's the long-term goal for both this generator and the other one is this series. So click on the card up here or down in the description down below for this series, and you can get these back to back. If you hit the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons down below, you'll be notified when the new videos pop up, because it's going to take me some weeks to get these done. Don't go anywhere. This is Doing Things Dan's Way. Just to be clear, I have no relationship with WEN. I purchased these completely on my own. They have no relationship with me whatsoever. Let's pop this open and see what's inside. Owner's guide, a wrench. We got the very long, my goodness, a very long spark plug remover. Wrench and screwdriver. Oil filled. Okay, and here we have it. A couple obvious observations right off the bat. This guy is 39 pounds, which means compared to pulling the 3800 watt unit out of the box, which I'm still a little sore from doing, that guy is 99 pounds. What's the back? Ugh. Okay, huge difference here. This is luggable, for lack of a better word. So, not bad. Let's look at this control panel. Just kind of starting on the right here. Choke. We have a control which lets you go into on, obviously. It has a run off mode, or call it a fuel off mode, which kills the fuel and lets you empty the carb before it basically naturally dies, versus just shutting it completely off and having the bowl of the carburetor stay full of fuel. That's great because you shut it down, and if you never turn it back on again for a month, you don't have a bunch of residue left over in your carb that's gumming it up. I can't say that does any good for electronics. You definitely want to have nothing plugged in when you use this mode. But yeah, run it to there, let it run out of gas, then shut it off. Below that, we have the parallel kit, which lets you parallel a couple of these units together to get twice as much output. I will be trying that at some point. Grounding lug if you want to be extra safe about it. Breakers. Has an eco mode, so these inverters let you run at a much lower RPM when your loads are less, because it's inverting the voltage up to 120 volts instead of having to run the engine continuously at 3600 RPM to create 60 cycles and to deliver power. So that's why these are so much more efficient. So these can idle way down, so we'll see that in a bit. Typical cigarette lighter, 12 volt output and a couple USBs, which is great. It's a 1 and a 2.1 amp, so they are wired a little bit differently. So for fast charging, 2 outlets, which is fine, and a series of overload breakers. Up top, all we really have is the fuel cap. I like this design. They have a couple others at WEN where the fuel inlet is right about here, and my concern there is if I dribble gas, it's going to go right down the control panel. So I honestly prefer having the fuel tank opening off the side, and it does have a vapor vent type lid on it, so you do have to turn that on. So that's up here. Here's our spark plug. It's kind of down in there a bit, which is why we have a rather long. Okay, ouch. I was able to get to it. Okay, so we can maintain our spark plug without taking panels off, at least. That's good to know. And there is light foam here. Here's the oil fill. And I do like that they actually have a little bit of attempt at trying to get the oil to not dribble all over your counter. So this is the dipstick that comes with it. They have an option I talk about in the manual for a magnetic tip dipstick. And what this does is, and this is sold separately, and I'll stick a link down below. You can grab this off Amazon. This is a nice, substantial, it's a solid piece of aluminum machined, and they have an embedded tip of a, rare earth type magnet up here. So, and this guy is, I mean, he's significant enough to hold a fair amount of weight if I get this to balance. So this is a good job. I did it on the other generator and got a fair bit of residue off even in the first 10 minutes. There's a lot of micro fines of metallic residue that comes off the engine. Definitely pick up one of these. Not only that, it's just this, it just feels like it's going to break, and it's in the hottest of environments down here in the oil. And so it's not as long, but you're not measuring here, you're measuring all the way up for full. So you're supposed to fill it until the oil is right to the bottom of the thread, so you can actually see what you're doing regardless of the dipstick. You can actually see the oil. The manual for this guy says run it halfway up the threads, but definitely check the user's manual on your generator to know what is expected. This guy also just feels more substantial. This is just this little plasticky little thing sticking out. This just feels good in the hand. So yeah, for $10, it's totally worth it. I mean, you spent $400 on the generator, you might as well spend $10 and get a dipstick that's also going to increase the lifespan. This screwdriver came in the pack, and oh, it's reversible. Very nice. Okay. So to give us a reversible screwdriver, there is the screw here to release the fuel, and the fuel's gonna come down here and whiz out of this hole down here. So you do need access to that. Now you can empty the entire tank. You can open the vent, put this in run mode, and open this, and all the fuel from the tank will run down through this path and out the bottom. So this came with this cute little funnel, and this is the full synthetic, which the synthetic doesn't really seem to cost that much more. What I've done is I've poured it into another container. This is not high mileage stuff. This is a different oil, but I had this container which has the nice display on it. So I like to just pre-fill exactly how much oil that I need at the bench, and then I can just dump it in and not have to worry about glugging too much in there. So we'll take out our nice magnetic dipstick we put in earlier. Wow, that's a nice funnel. Gets it way out here. Now the manual says that you should have oil about halfway up the threads. And so just looking at it here, I can very easily see the oil is right up about 2 or 3 threads up from the bottom. Okay, let's put back our nice magnetic dipstick. Wipe it all clean. It is nice to have this little spout built in here so you don't get oil dripping down inside. It even has a lip in the metal here so that it forces the drip to land down there. So there's several nice little details they stuck in just to keep it cleaner. Okay, let's box it back up again, and let's get it started. So the nice instruction card they give you here, let's see what we've done. We have filled the oil. We still need to put some gas in it. Before you turn it on, you need to rotate this knob here to the on position, which just releases any vacuum that's in the tank. We're going to switch our knob here to on, pull our choke. It doesn't say it, but in general we want to keep the eco mode turned off when we're starting and then turn it on later once it warms up a bit. So at this point we would pull start it and then slowly push the choke lever in as it warms up. And then once things are up and running, we can put up to our rated amount of power. And then to shut down, they want you to pull any power cords out first. We're going to dial this back to off, fuel off mode, and let it run out of gas. And once it's run out of gas, then we will shut it completely off, relock the top here so we don't spill fuel. I've heard people say that's kind of their mistake. They forget to do this, and then they slosh it around and gas dribbles out of the top of this. So one more reason to buy this version versus the one that has the gas cap up front. I will definitely want to add a hour meter, which is something that's unfortunately missing from this. So click up here for a video on how to install a hour meter onto this generator. I will say that it is disappointing that there is not a fuel gauge of any sort. There's not a fuel meter, there's not a fuel gauge. So that's probably my biggest disappointment so far that I'm seeing in this generator. And I would like to try getting a system to convert this over to natural gas or to propane. So if I'm able to accomplish that, there'll be a link that pops up right up here. Is it there? With how to convert this over to propane. So give me a thumbs up, give me a comment down below if you think that this is an appropriate generator to switch over to propane and what your thoughts are on that. Okay guys, that's going to wrap up this particular episode here. We're right at the point here of throwing some fuel in it and getting it started, but this video is getting a little long. So we're going to cut it off. We'll start the next video with the first power up. We'll see how many pulls it takes to get this thing started. Spoiler alert, it fires up pretty quick. So click right here for the next video about this generator. And you can click down here for a playlist that includes all of the videos, including a number of additions we're going to do to it and noise levels. Don't forget to click subscribe down below and hit that bell if you want to get an immediate notification of when the next video drops. Until next time guys, on this generator and other projects around the house, be blessed.